10. Bill. I suppose they assumed I was like my father, after all. Even at my age, they assumed that I want to drink alcohol, and, of course, the best kind. Brand's eyes opened so wide that I almost saw the crystal reflect in them. "No, thank you," I said as the waiter made to pour a glass. "I'll have a Roy Rogers." Brand laughed. "Hadn't had one of those since I was a kid. Make that too." He smiled at the waiter, who looked a little confused but nodded, and went to get our drinks, leaving the expensive whiskey behind. Brand stared at it and then laughed again. "The whole bottle. Just like that, if you wanted it." He shook his head. The waiter returned almost immediately with our drinks. Service for the son of Edmund Chambers, always top-notch. "Yes, well," I said, raising my glass, "it's not generosity if you're not paying for it, so don't think anything of it." I was impressed. "I'm not anymore," he replied. I laughed. "Here's to silver spoons." "And I'm not choking on them," I replied. We clinked glasses and sipped our drinks. Brand wheezed a bit at the sweetness. I knew places like this existed, but Brand leaned back in his chair and looked around. He made no effort to look the matter born. He wasn't, and I liked that he didn't pretend anyway. After all, it was a beautiful room. Dark wood paneling, walls of shelves filled with the books, a roaring fire for the windy night, like tonight. It was also a particularly quiet night, which I like. A gentleman's club was fine to have as a retreat, but we packed with men drinking the night away and loudly pontificating. It was my idea of the opposite of heaven. "So," I said, leaning back as well, feeling some of the anxiety for the evening finally met up my shoulders. "Shall I take a job?" Grant looked at me and rolled his eyes. I laughed again. "No, but seriously," I said, "will it be wrong to? I want to learn, and there's only so much you can teach yourself." "Sometimes we don't have the luxury of teachers," replied Brand. "I understand." I took another sip. "But when you offer the chance to be taught, just like that, you should be taking away an opportunity for someone who actually needs it." I hadn't thought of that. I really hadn't thought of that. "Then again, maybe you have a special gift. Shouldn't waste that," added Brand, thoughtfully swirling his drink. He was a strange-looking fellow, now that I had the time to really praise him. He was a little short and a little squat, and not in the way you actually describe him like that. His hair was already receding, but he was young. He had to be about my age. Maybe it wasn't that. Maybe it's just so thin and light. I wasn't sure what the ladies would make of him, but he had a twinkle in his eye that I bet they enjoyed. I couldn't figure him out, but I knew there was something appealing about him, that I appreciated his strictness. "Well, now I have no idea what to do," I replied, and then my stomach sank. "Oh no. No. I leaned down into my chair. "Are you hiding?" asked Brand, turning around his chair. Darn tootin', I was hiding. "Wait, is that your father?" Darn tootin', it was my father. Over the top of Brand's head, there by the entrance, having their coat check-in by our already friendly coat check girl, Lola, was my father, and the man from New York. The ladies looked to have retired for the night. A pity, because now things would into late-night festivities much more easier, maybe even all night. "Now, is that my son I see?" I tried to sink lower into my chair, when my father treated me like an old friend, and not like a great disappointment. Nothing good could come from it. Obviously, I couldn't actually hide from these men, not in the real world, or in my carefully created father or ordained future. They were quickly upon dragging heavy chairs painfully noisily across the wood floor. "What do we got here?" asked Mr. Oldman, picking up the decanter, his very large hand able to wrap almost all the way around it. "Magellan 18, I replied with a tight-lipped smile. "It'll do," he snapped for the waiter, and before he made it to our table, called out, "Glasses!" Mother sat down next to me and gave me a look. "Where did you disappear off to?" "Someone had to get the lights back on," I replied. He shook his head. "I think they had it under control." "Actually, sir, thanks to your son, the light came on a good deal sooner than it would have. You had to wait for the contractor to arrive," said Brand. His tone was polite, far more cordial than when he spoke to me. He knew, then, how to behave around certain people. He knew I was certain people. What made him choose what kind of tone to make? I gazed at my father and was embarrassed to discover him eyeing Brand with the same expression I found myself sporting. I relaxed my face into a more open one. "Who's this?" Father asked. It's my friend Brant. You have met him before, Father, I said. Father looked carefully at him and shrugged. He does seem familiar. I didn't think to add that. Brant was the one he ordered to take the horse up the diving platform. Let him assume he's one of us for now. So you fellows up from New York? Asked Brant. You can't tell, I replied, trying to shift the tone. New York? One of the smaller men called out, raising his glass. The others did the same, and they drank, downing their Magallans in one glump. You're on business, asked Brant. Who are you, a cop? Asked Mr. Renzo with a laugh. Why would a cop care if you're here on business? Followed up Brant. It's all the questions, not what you're asking, replied my father with the edge to his voice. It wasn't that he didn't like questions, he just preferred to be one asking them. Brant definitely heard it and held a hand in apology. I'm so sorry, I just get curious. Be careful about that, replied my father. Well, my uncle always said curiosity is an excellent way to expand your mind, Grant said with a grin. Funny. Mine said it's a good way to get yourself killed. Father finished his drink and started to pour himself another. Different strokes for different folks, I guess. Very true, replied Brant in his pleasant way. Other? I asked, motioning to the waiter. Brant nodded with a smile. We exchanged a look. Want that? Suggested we were in on this together, dealing with an excess of wealth with humor and grace, and not without the grace of Asian for the sobriety of all. As the waiter replaced his glass, I did have to wonder, though, if he wasn't a cop, what was he?